back to blooming in Brisbane, and now we're in Nudgee with Lawrence and Alana. Lawrence has built a raised veggie garden. So Lawrence, tell me about the garden here.
Well, they're just wicking beds essentially. So we've built up 3 beds here at this stage. My plan was to build 3, see how they work, and if they work well, I'll build another one. But yeah, they're just beds lined with plastic, essentially rocks and other material in the bottom half and the top half with the soil, so that hopefully with my habits and my partner Alana's habits, we don't have to water them too often.
So I've noticed on this plant over here, on the broccoli, there's a few things going on. So we'll start with that. Jill, what's happening?
Well, the broccoli was planted earlier in the year, but now it's gotten to a point where it's a little hot, too humid, and everything's come to visit. The broccoli's covered with all the evil things in the veggie garden you don't want. You've got white moth, you've got caterpillars, you've got grasshoppers. It's just become a nest for all the rotten things in the garden to hide. We're not going to get any broccoli off it now because it's getting too warm, too humid, and it'll bolt and go to seed. So best thing to do is to remove the nest so nothing else can come and play. This is one of the worst grasses you can have, and it's called nutgrass. And nutgrass has layers of different roots going down. So when you pull it out, I've pulled out one bit, but it'll go deeper and deeper and deeper. And so by pulling out one, I've stirred it up, it'll keep producing. Now, since this is in a veggie garden, you don't want to go throwing chemical about. They're trying to keep the garden as organic as possible. So the only thing we're down to is hand removal. And it'll be hand removal, hand removal, hand removal, hand removal. Try to get down deep to get as much as the next root as you can, but it will keep coming back.
This week's plant of the week are the group of ornamental grasses. Here I have a couple of miscanthus species that are well suited for all Brisbane gardens. In fact, many ornamental grasses are just really well suited for our gardens, yet a lot of people tend to overlook them for use in their home yards. They are beautiful, delicate plants that are full of vigour and lovely, luscious growth. Towards the middle or late summer, they send off lovely plumes that are soft in colour and are very delicate to look at. Although these are sterile, they will not set seed in your yard. There are a lot of native species of grasses that of course will set seed, but these will not. A lot of the imported specimens will not ever do that. So ornamental grasses can be used very easily around the yard to pick up texture and colour, but also very beautiful to use around the likes of ponds or watercourses where they can hold the banks together and make cause the soil to actually hold much better and stop erosion problems. Even things such as lemongrass can be used in the same way. So the next time you're looking for a little bit of interesting texture, some lovely colour and some great movement in the garden, consider some of the ornamental grasses. I'm sure you really get a lot of pleasure out of using them in your home garden.
For this season, we're going to be doing a new segment called Arts and Crafts, and I'm going to be doing myself, Anka, with my friend Courtney. But today we're going to make pot wind chimes.
The materials that you'll need to make a pot wind chime is pots, colourful beads, paint, paintbrush, scissors and twine.
As an example, we prepared one earlier for an end product idea, and this is what it should look like in the end. You can add more beads and all that, but this is what we're trying to aim for in the end. To start off, we're going to grab our pieces of baling twine. Courtney, that's yours.
Thank you.
And we're going to make a small knot at the bottom of our rope, just as so. And you want to bead as many beads as you want through right to the bottom. Any sorts, any colours, they all look pretty.
After you've finished placing your beads on your twine, make sure to tie a small knot off before the beads to keep them nice and secure so they don't slip out, like so.
Once we have our beads nice and secured, you want to take about 15 centimetres and make another knot. Once you've made your knot, you want to go ahead and take a bead and thread it through right to the knot, like that. And just as before, just secure it nice and tightly.
After you've finished placing your beads on your twine, make sure to tie a small knot off before the beads to keep them nice and secure so they don't slip out. like so. For now, we're just going to put our beads aside because we need to start painting our pots.
Once you have your pot and your paintbrush, take some paint, put it onto a little palette, and then go ahead and paint your pots. Now that we've finished painting our pots, we want to bring our string back in, and we want to take about 5 centimeters from where our last bead was to make another knot. Once you've done the knot, grab your pot. The hole through the pot, if your knot would easily go through there, you want to do at least a double or a triple knot.
Once you have finished tying off your knot, you need to grab your pot and thread your twine through the hole of the pot. Make sure that the bottom end of the pot is facing up, like so.
Once you've placed on all of your pots and you've had them all as you want and nicely placed, you want to make one last loop so you can place it anywhere you like. So by doing that, you make a little loop and you just tie that and make it nicely and secured. And that's it. That's the pot wind chime. It's really cute. I like it. And for more info and anything else you guys would like to look at, go and visit our Facebook page. All the links will be put at the end. And if you want to send us some of your pictures, we'll be happy to look at them. Thanks for watching in Blooming in Brisbane Arts and Crafts. Bye.
Now we're here having a look at one of the other gardens, and you can see the basil. Some of us have a lot of trouble just trying to grow basil, but this is excellent. Have you had to put much effort in?
I spend a lot of time neglecting it.
Excellent.
As much as I can. That's about it.
No, this is just growing so well, but there's a couple of little pointers. I don't like them to go to flower because they are an annual, so keep all the flowers off if you can. And that one's a bit woody. Everything's got a use by date. Perhaps now's the time to get the most out of it by yanking it out and putting something fresher in, because this one's still doing well. Where do you normally crop the basil from when you pick your leaves?
Usually I just go in and grab the handful, probably from whatever's closest. So.
If you stick to the top newer leaves, you'll find they're much sweeter than the older ones. The older ones become bitter, and when you're making a pesto, it can taint it. You can also make oodles of pesto and you can freeze it. But this is a great veggie garden, and it's bringing in a lot of the bees, a lot of the insects to help pollination. So if you're growing any heirloom herbs, they always need pollination. You'll get a lot of the insects in, and when we look around, there are bees in the area. But this is one huge basil, and I know so many people say my basil dies after 3 months. How long has this been in?
September 2011.
Okay, it is an older one. She's had her birthdays. I think she needs to go to basil heaven.
Yeah, I think it's like probably second or third generation, because the original plant was in that corner, which was there, and it's self-seeded and it's migrating back and forth.
Now, down in the bottom, I can see a bin. What's that for?
That's a worm farm.
And how's that going? What are you putting in there?
So, well, what you can see above ground is only about that, but it's about that deep. So essentially all our garden scraps, we just throw our garden scraps in there, and if I am doing any pruning or anything else like that, I throw that in there as well. And it's just to try and put a source of food in there for the worms, so that we've got extra organisms in there helping the garden.
And I see we've got a pipe coming up.
That's right, so that's where we water it from. So essentially we fill in the water in there, and then that fills up the bottom half of the reservoir, and then through a wicking process the water is absorbed into the soil, and hopefully we get basil and other stuff growing like it is.
Oh, this is tremendous. Now, do you use tank water or town water?
Where I can, tank water. That's why we've got tank water here coming off the roof of the house, so wherever possible tank water, but if we run out then we still got to keep it alive.